Once in a generation was not a promise, but a warning that another chance might be a long time coming. The substance of this warning is becoming all too apparent. Given their destabilising side effects, I accept that some constraint must be placed on the frequency of referenda, but like SNP Councillor Tom Johnston, letters, January 16, I consider the disparity in the treatment of the Scottish and Northern Irish devolved administrations regarding their right to seek a mandate to withdraw from the UK to be iniquitous and unjustifiable. I agree with most commentators that with Brexit a fait accompli and a hard border with England in prospect, a no vote would be the almost certain outcome of any referendum held in the short term. Whilst the Scottish Government should continue to press for a proper framework allowing it to call referenda without reference to Westminster, in the meantime it would make sense to allow time for the probably dire consequences of EU departure to unfold, and the attraction of rejoining as an independent nation to become irresistible. Finally, I note the unrelenting criticisms of the SNP's record as the party of government. Whilst this has been far from perfect, I think it most unlikely that any of the other parties would have performed better, and am gratified that, as recently demonstrated, a substantial majority of the voting population clearly agrees with me. Neil Sinclair, Paisley. The SNP leadership has a special way with words. The First Minister and her predecessor never intended that the result of the 2014 referendum would be a once-in-a-generation event, they merely said that to try to get their vote out. If they lost the referendum they knew in advance that they would soon start talking of a rerun as being inevitable. Equally, they knew that if they won the vote they would try to ensure the result stood not for a generation but rather forever. As for the Edinburgh Agreement commitment to respect the outcome of the referendum, the SNP only ever intended for that to bind the UK government. For the SNP leadership this was a promise made with fingers crossed. Of course from time to time when it has suited her, Nicola Sturgeon has reassured the people of Scotland that a second independence referendum would only happen when the people of Scotland wanted it. But because the numbers have not moved sufficiently to suit her case, for the First Minister the people of Scotland now means just those people who support the SNP. The SNP employs words in this way to suit its narrow agenda, and as it does so treats the rest of us like fools. Keith Howell, West Linton. The letter from Dr. Gerald Edwards, January 17, was full of contradictions. He says, Scotland has suffered in relative silence under the SNP, its record in office is nothing short of woeful, but then he goes on to say I'll laugh more on this story, visit the news article link.